We're absolutely swimming in information these days, right? It's everywhere. But what if there was a way to find the real signals, the actual patterns, hiding in all that noise? Well, today, we're going to talk about an incredible statistical tool that does exactly that. It's called factor analysis.
I mean, we've all been there. You're staring at a spreadsheet, maybe some survey results or market research, and it's just this wall of numbers and variables. It's so hard to see the big picture when you're just lost in the details.
But imagine for a second, what if you could just cut through all of that complexity? What if you could find the real story that the data is desperately trying to tell you? That's really the promise of what we're digging into today. Okay, let's make this real. Think about smartphones. When someone's choosing a new phone, what do they actually care about? Gosh, the list feels endless, right? You've got ergonomics, the screen quality, how it functions, what they think of the brand, the cost. Trying to make any kind of strategic decision based on dozens of these separate things is, well, it's a nightmare. And this is exactly where our data detective comes into play. Factor analysis is a technique that's built to take a huge number of variables that we can see and measure and find the deeper, unobserved patterns or factors that are really connecting them all behind the scenes. So it takes that totally chaotic list of phone features and, like magic, it groups them into just a few simple, powerful ideas. All of a sudden, things like functionality and wireless connectivity, they become part of a bigger idea: performance. Ergonomics and screen quality, that's all about design. And the operating costs and how long the phone lasts, that could all be grouped under value. See, it just simplifies the entire picture. The secret ingredient here is something called a latent factor. This is really the core concept. Think of it as an invisible trait, like design, that you can't measure with a ruler, but you can absolutely see its influence on things you can measure, like how bright the screen is, or just how good the phone feels in your hand. So, how does this data detective actually get the job done? Well, it's not just one single tool. It's more like a toolkit with 3 different approaches for 3 different kinds of jobs. And the best way to get these different approaches is with a few quick analogies. First up, you've got exploratory factor analysis, or EFA. This is our detective at a crime scene, just looking for clues. You have no idea what you're going to find, you're just exploring for hidden patterns. Then there's group factor analysis, or GFA. This is more like an analyst comparing different teams or maybe different customer groups to see if the same patterns show up for everyone. And finally, there's confirmatory factor analysis, CFA. This is our scientist in a lab. They have a very specific theory, like design and value are the only 2 things that matter, and they're using the data to prove it or disprove it. Okay, so this is all really cool, but what's the actual payoff here? Why does this matter in the real world? Well, it all boils down to making much smarter, more focused decisions, and believe it or not, even building better AI. The benefits are just huge. By simplifying all that complex data, your teams can finally focus on what really, truly matters. You start to uncover these powerful hidden drivers, like brand perception, that are secretly steering what your customers do. And for anyone working in AI and machine learning, this is an absolute game changer. It makes your models way more efficient and helps you pick the right features to focus on. And of course, all of this leads to better strategic planning and much more accurate forecasts. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. By finding these key drivers, the people making the big calls are freed from all the noise. They can act on the real, fundamental things that are shaping their business without getting lost in an ocean of data that doesn't matter. So let's zoom out for a second and just put this whole thing together. Let's recap the entire journey from that messy, confusing data to clear, actionable insight. The whole process really just boils down to 4 simple steps. 1, you start with that overwhelming, complex data. 2, you apply factor analysis to start finding the hidden structure. 3, you uncover those core latent drivers that are really pulling the strings. And 4, with that amazing new clarity, you can make smarter, more confident decisions. It's that simple. And that brings us right to the end. This isn't just some abstract theoretical tool. It's a whole new lens for seeing the world. So I want to leave you with a question to chew on. In your work, in your company, in your own research, what hidden patterns are just sitting there in your data waiting for you to find them?